The doctor looks at us and says, "Hey, I just called Phoenix Children's Hospital. You need to go there ASAP. They are waiting for you. I'm really sorry." And I looked her in the eye and I said, "Jesus doesn't make mistakes." I needed to hear that because I was panicking in my head. So we show up there, and June 15th, like, we got to move the surgery up. We've got to pull this thing out of her. And that was Father's Day. And so I told her, I was like, "Hey, bud, it's going to be fine. We're going to get through it. I know you're hungry. I'm not eating. I'm not going to eat until you eat. I'm walking with you through it." And they came out of the surgery after a couple hours and went into this room right here, keep it in my office. And the doctor said, "I'm really sorry. She has stage 3 cancer. There's nothing we can do right now. We're gonna have to close her up. It's covered her so many organs. Her spleen, her pancreas, her kidney is consumed with it. The inner lining of her abdomen, her small intestine. We can't remove it. It's too dangerous. So we'll just close her up and start heavy doses of chemo." And obviously that was a sad moment. I felt like I'd betrayed her. And 3 days into it, she's feeling terrible. Neither one of us have eaten. I can't leave her side. I have a journal for her that for each of my kids. I started when they were born. And I had Kim bring that to me. And I was like, "I need to read you some things just in case you never get to hear what I have to say, what I've said about you and what you mean to me." And so I started reading it, and she's dozing off. I was like, "You want me to read more?" She's like, "Yeah." And so that morning, we're just waiting for what's supposed to happen next. And I just wake up praying, talking to Jesus, pulling out my hair, and I tell you, it was as clear as day. Like it was yesterday. Jesus spoke in a non-audible voice to my soul, "Brian, you need to be patient with me." And that changed my whole just perspective on it. I was like, all right. Walking around the hospital in the middle of July with my wife for a second to get some air. Said, "Ellie's either going to dance with Jesus or she's going to dance with me." And I just had to release her to the Lord. And I've got friends whose kids didn't make it. And I'm not sure why Ellie did. And but I'm thankful that she's active, she's healthy. That was a long year process, but she's doing good now. And I'm thankful.
So they had gone back in and done some more tests or whatever, and then found that it was just completely gone, or?
Yeah, so we had another surgery a couple months later after a lot of chemo, and just a lot of prayer. And man, the Lord shrunk that thing pretty good. They actually just had to remove her left kidney and an adrenal gland. And doctor came out. He's like, so went back into the same room, but with joy this time. He's like, I got it. I was like, oh, praise Jesus. Yeah. So we had more chemo and more radiation after that. And she got down to really little, but she got through it.
Dude, what a testimony, brother.
Yeah.
What a testimony. And I can only imagine in the midst of the journey, the whys and just the real stuff that you struggle with, right? And what that does for a marriage. I mean, I can see from a marriage
Yeah.
standpoint, that either brings you together or it pretty much pulls you apart. What did that look like for you and your wife?
Kim was like, she went into mama mode and started researching how to combat this. We really wanted to stay away from chemo as much as we could, just because of the toxins that it does to your body and the after effect of it. And she was just every night up all night doing it. And she finally, the Lord, door after door after door after door, just kept getting closed. And every door was like, you need to do the chemo. You need to do the chemo. And she's like, her quality of life is going to be brutal if she does make it. She may not have kids. She may not this or that and the other. And I said, I'm more concerned about her faith, right? If your faith is strong, then what difference does it make about your quality of life? Because you can endure anything, right? With a strong faith. And I said, our prayer is that Ellie is healed. Our hope is in Jesus. And I'm not about to flip those two, because I won't make it if I do. I won't make it. And so you're right. I'm laying next to her, but I can't comfort her in the way that she needs to be comforted, nor can I. But the Spirit was comforting our whole family in this whole process. And we have built, by the grace of God, a beautiful community of people around us, and they rallied around us. And it was pretty special. The baseball culture, it was awesome. There was guys fasting during the season, during the surgery, while they're playing. I was like, it was pretty cool to see people just come alongside and help. The ministry I worked for was awesome. They like, dude, stay home. I was home for 7 months. I didn't work. They let me do that. And we've got a tight brotherhood of relationships with each other. And they rallied around me big time.
Dude, I can only imagine too, in the story that you've been through, now it's like your faith has become stronger to the extent it's like, okay, nothing that happens to me now.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, I've got faith that's amazing that I didn't have before, but it's like, man, I've been through this, and the Lord brought me through this. Brother, bring it on.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my buddies used to say, a faith untested cannot be trusted. And our faith was tested, and it proved that Jesus is trustworthy. Now, even if Ellie should have died, he's still trustworthy, because the rain comes on the just and the unjust, right? The Lord gives and takes away. In fact, I took my family, we went through the book of Job and through Jonah. My fear in this, if I can be honest here, was that my youngest Selah was 6 at the time. She has a very logical mind. I'm like, she's going to end up being a lawyer or something. And I didn't want anyone in my family to shake their fist at God and run from him through this. I need them to cling to him in this, especially in these times, cling to him. And so I wanted them to learn about this side of God and understand that he's in control, and we live in a fallen world. And they'll even ask me in the middle of all of the cancer treatments and the chemo, she's like, why did God give me cancer? And I'm like, well, that's a legit question, but Ellie, God did not give you cancer. I go, Adam and Eve, when they fell and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, sin entered the world, and so did death. And it took Adam's body 930 plus years before it finally broke down. But ever since then, everybody's body's been breaking down. Everybody's body break down. But Jesus did not sit idly by. He did something about this. And he's more concerned with your soul than he is about your physical state, because your life is but a breath, right? We're here today, gone tomorrow. But your time with the King is forever. And I go, that's what matters. If he wants to heal you, he can. But you're walking with Jesus. That's the most important thing.
Dude, and that's what I love so much about your story in the video that I watched, because you said something, I'm paraphrasing. It doesn't matter about the quality of life or anything else. If she's got Jesus, she can handle whatever life throws at her.
That's absolutely right.
Bro, yeah. That's what I sent the video to my wife and my 3 girls. That's the piece I want them to understand and get, because that is the message, right?
Yeah. I always say my goal is to be able to take a nap in a small boat in the middle of a fierce storm. Just curling up to Jesus. It's all good. He's in control. If he wants to calm it, he can. If he wants me to ride the waves, I'll ride the waves. But he has the words of eternal life. I got nowhere else to go.
Dude, what has this whole journey taught you about being a father?
I mean, a lot. For Kim and I, the number one thing that we try to establish with our girls is trust. And because, as you know, you can look at a marriage and say, oh, love's number one thing, or communication. But if trust is thrown out the window, it doesn't matter how hard you try to love or how much you try to communicate. That's all gone. So as being a father, I can trust Jesus. I've got to make sure that my girls can trust me. So I'm not asking them to go someplace that I myself am not willing to do or go. And I want them to walk with me. They say if you're leading and no one's following you, you're only going for a walk. So I want to make sure that as I'm walking with them and as they're going, that they're trusting what's going on. And so Kim and I work really hard on developing that with them. And so the biggest thing, probably one of the biggest moments in our life, is when my oldest was 12. She was on her iPad and looking up animation stuff anyway. As something would happen, she found herself looking at things that are dark, and Kim caught it, took it away, and I was like, "What happened?" And she told me. I was like, "Oh man!" Abby had locked herself up in her bedroom or locked bathroom, and I said, "Hey, bud, I need you to come out." She's like, "You're gonna kill me." It's like, "No, I'm not. I've never been that way to you. I'm not about to start." I go, "I need to see your face." She goes, "Well, I don't want to see yours." I go, "Well, that doesn't matter." And I held her face and I said, "I love you, bud. I'm sorry that you've seen this. I love you. You're not mad?" "No." "Oh man, I mean, it's my fault. I didn't protect you like I should have, but we'll work through it. I'm walking with you." And then like 2 months later, we were praying and she goes, "Dad, I got something I want to tell you. I've been thinking about whether or not I should share it with you all day, but I remember 2 months ago how you dealt with that situation with me, and I can come to you." I go, "What is?" She's like, I said a cuss word at school today." It's like, "All right, bud. Well, I appreciate your honesty. How do you feel now?" She's like, "Well, I didn't feel good doing it, but I feel better now talking about it." I was like, "All right, well, just take that to Jesus. It's all good. He loves you. I do too." And so it's this no strings attached, no condition, loving him. Even when we say something like, "Hey, I'm going to go get ice cream." You know how when kids are little, they get all amped up all the time. Well, I wanted to make sure that I never said, just because their behavior changed, I never took away the ice cream. I didn't want to hold that over them, because now I'm teaching them conditional love. If I say we're getting ice cream, we're getting ice cream, because trust is incredibly important. And I need to make sure that I honor my words. And my youngest holds me accountable like nobody's business with
Yeah,
that.
they have a tendency to do that, don't
Oh
they?
yeah. But if they know, if they can trust us, then they're going to trust our journey with Jesus. And now hopefully that'll connect them closer and have a smoother transition to the King. And that's obviously our heart's desire, that they walk with Jesus.